Hello and welcome back to Ancorton Models TV, and today I'm going to show you how to build the N Gauge engine shed kit from Ancorton Models. So let's get started. Right, well, let's get stuck in. So in the pack we have got a fret of windows and lintels and cornerstones and a few other bits and pieces, all important instruction sheet, the roof in two halves, the main fret with the two sides, the back and the front end, and a couple of mid bracing pieces for the roof, and also a set of doors as well, and last but not least the ridge tiles to go along the top of the roof at the end. So I'm going to have a quick scan through the instructions and then we can get on with the build. Okay, so I've read through the instructions and on the whole it seems fairly easy to put together. However, I'm going to deviate from the instructions straight away, which might seem an odd thing to do. Well, that's because the first instructions is to actually build the main structure of the building straight away, and then add the windows and the lintels and brickwork afterwards. And through my own experience through building other model building kits, is that it's easier to fit the windows and the lintels and so on when it's flat still on the fret. So that's how we're going to do. So on the thinner sheet we have got the windows, the brick arch pieces, and part 18 there is the lintels. So I'm going to obviously cut them out of here and glue them to the main fret. The windows will just go in on the back side of the piece, and obviously the lintels and the brickwork will go on the front. So I'll just crack on and do that on the time lapse. So hopefully, as you can see there, we've got all the windows in place, and we've also got the top stones and the lower sills as well. As I said, I personally find it easier to fit that kind of stuff first before cutting everything out, sticking it together, and then trying to get the windows in place. As I just personally find it a bit easier, and I think you will as well. If you wanted to, you could fit some clear acetate, some clear plastic or something across the back of the windows, to give like glazing effect, because there isn't, unfortunately there isn't actually a sheet of clear plastic to do that. Alternatively, you could just leave them blank, as in fact I'm actually going to do for this particular build. So on to the next bit, which in the instructions is the first bit, which is to cut the four main pieces out and stick those together. So that's the main structure of the building together. I've just popped an elastic band on it to just help hold it together whilst the glue goes off. But one thing I did actually forget to do when I had the pieces still in the fret was to add the date stamp and the lintels for the doors. So there's two doors on it. There's a little access door on one side, and obviously the main engine shed doors, which is also where the date stamp goes. So whilst I've actually got it with the band on, I can actually fit those other pieces as well. So let's just get those done. Now then, the glue I'm using is the Deluxe Materials Glue and Glaze today. I'd normally use something like the Deluxe Materials Rocket Card Glue, which would do the job just as well. I just decided I'd give the Glue and Glaze a bit of a go, mainly because it's a little bit thicker and is a bit more PVA based, and with this being quite a thick plywood wooden kit, the PVA is the glue and glaze is going to fit it that little bit better, I feel. It's going to be able to soak into the wood a bit more better and give a better joint. So let's put the date on. The other advantage with the glue and glaze is that it does still dry fairly quickly, but not as quick as the Rocket Card Glue, because that really does dry extremely quick. So it allows you to have a bit more time to adjust things. So like fitting those window frames, it's allowed me time to adjust those to get them fitted as well. So like I say, it just makes that a little bit easier, but it's entirely up to you what glue you use. So I've just added an extra bit of glue on the inside corners just to help give it a little bit more strength. So now we've got that done, let's see what the next stage is. Okay, so having just had a quick scan through the instructions, it does actually suggest next to put the corner pieces on, the corner overlays, but whilst there's still a bit of glue drying on the corners, I'm going to move on to the next bit, which is to put the roof trusses in, which is these parts here. So I'll cut them out and fit them in. Now they fit into some little slots in the side walls, which should line up, and obviously they're there to hold the roof up. So I'll do that and then hopefully be able to get those side pieces on as well. So I've managed to get the roof trusses in and the cornerstones, and I've just put some elastic bands around while the glue dried, again just to hold it in place. And that I've also put a paint pot in the middle. Now the reason I've done that is because the sides were bowing in quite a bit, and unfortunately the trusses don't have any tabs coming down to hold the walls at the correct width. But I found that the Tamiya, is it Tamiya? The Tamiya paint pot is just about the right width to hold it as the glue dries. So now that the glue has pretty much dried, I should be able to just remove that. You might want to, if you wanted to, you could put additional bracing in from side to side, just to help it hold that width, the correct width on it. But that's entirely up to you. It's your model. It's your choice. So now that the glue has pretty much dried, I'll put it there. You might just be able to see a bit of the bend in it, but it's not too bad, thankfully. So on to the next bit, which is to start looking at fitting the roof, which is on this sheet here. And I think I'm going to have a quick look at the instructions again, just to see what it's suggesting on how to do it. So just bear with a minute. Okay, so I've just reread the instructions, and the whole of the roof is made up of 2 pieces, and that includes the ventilated louvres to allow steam and smoke to escape, if you're lighting an engine up. And what you'll need to do is to bend if you have it up this way, so you can see it, the louvres are there in the middle. The larger part is the lower part of the roof, the thinner part of the tiles is obviously the upper part. So the upper part needs to be bent away from the louvres, and the lower part needs to be bent into it, so you get that sort of Z shape. I think it would make more sense when you actually come to do it yourself. Now, it recommends using a steel rule to do this, and I'm just going to use mine just to give that line an extra little score down it to help it for each of them first. Not pressing down hard, just enough to help it to score. And I'm just going to try just carefully bending it. And then we need to bend the other side back into it. Just take your time with this, is what I will suggest. So eventually I end up with a sort of Z shape profile, and the idea is that you get it to match as best as you can the roof profile. Now I've literally just bent that, as you've just seen, and actually the profile's not too bad on that. So I'll do the same with the other one, and then I'll just stick it in place with the glue, and just hold it there while the glue goes off. So let's do that. Okay, so the roof went on pretty well, and I think pretty much that's all there is to say about it. It is delicate and it is thin, but it does look pretty good once it's all together, and the parts have matched up really well. So the next instruction is to fit the ridge tiles, the gable ends and the barge boards. So the ridge tiles are the sort of, I'll call them the frilly ones because they've got quite a bit of pattern on them. The barge boards are just these long strips here, and the gable end pieces are these shaped pieces there. So they all need cutting out and fitting. In the case of the ridge tiles, they need bending as well and fitting, which will then also help hide any gaps you might have down the ridge of the roof. So I'll do that, and we're then getting close to completion. So we've now got the end barge boards, the side barge boards, and the ridge tiles on as well. They're fitted really well and really easily. I would recommend when doing the ridge tiles to score the line again on the fret. I didn't and had to do it freehand, but I got away with it. But I'd recommend keeping it in the fret, giving it a score, and then cutting it out of the fret, fold it, and then you should be able to get it on the top, no problem. So that is the main building built, and all that remains is to fit the doors. Now there's two sets of doors here, and basically you've got a small door which will go in that little gap there, and obviously two larger doors which will need to be matched together are then fitted each side. Now what you have to make sure with the main Loco doors is that when you fit them, that they are high enough so that they clear the rail height, so there's a gap at the bottom. So you want to line them up with the top as best as you can, not at the bottom. So just make sure you double check your sizing and your bits and pieces there. So I'm going to get all this together, and that'll be it pretty much built. So there we are, that's how to put together the Ancorton N Gauge single road Loco Shed. It's gone together really well. It's a nice laser cut kit, so pretty much everything fits together nicely. There are a few bits that I'll probably change, as I have suggested throughout the video. But on the whole, it's a good kit, and obviously it now just needs painting up. And there are instructions on the colours to use. They have suggested some just basically paint it in grey or brick colours, what stone or brick colours, whatever suits you. It's your layout, it's your model. You can paint it however you like. So anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to give us a good old thumbs up. Also make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well, because that really does help us out quite a bit. So until next time, happy modelling.